So for the people who are watching this for the first time and the people who don't know you, who is Dhruv Chawla and Aryan Raul when the cameras are off?
Well, for myself, I would say I'm a person who's always been very curious. I never had actually planned what I'm gonna do with my life completely. I used to always work with things as they came, and I used to experiment a lot with things. I have been a keen learner since the beginning. So yeah, that would sum up Dhruv Chawla. I'm just that way.
Okay.
Makes sense. So I second Dhruv on that, right? He's always been the chaotic person who's trying new things. For me, it was more about structure. Like even since my schooling days, right? I used to always be like, okay, मेरे को structurally करना है सब कुछ. And that's why JEE and then NIT and everything, right? But somewhere, I had this hunger ki, yeah, even I want to build something, and that's where we could synergize and work on, because he brought structure. So he brought chaos in the beginning, and that's what was needed for us to start something. And then I could bring structure to it and scale it. Right? So for me, I was also similar to Dhruv in terms of learning. It's just I was more structured in that sense, and I believed the systems could set things in place. So I'm someone who would be a more systematic learner, again, and curious person. And I think that would sum up Aryan Raul.
Okay, so as you mentioned, you all both are two different personality traits. One works well under pressure, but I'd say one is
More into chaotic.
more chaotic, and you are more structured, right? Now, there are certain people who have either of the one traits, right? Who I'm either going to be a very chaotic person or I'm going to be very structured or somewhere in the middle, right? If we compare both of the two, which personality trait will be the most advantageous if you're running a venture or a business?
So, as you asked, what would be more advantageous? Actually, I think it's always a mix of both, or having someone who can bring the structure in you if you're chaotic, and vice versa, right? So, because as someone who wants to start a business and venture, you have to be very chaotic in the start, because the start is never clear. Like, it's always been a path which is very rough, because you're figuring things out on your own. You don't have a team. You don't have any idea of what to do. In that particular environment, someone like who's very structured, who's very chaotic would thrive.
Okay.
While when you're scaling that particular business, it is very important to have structure in yourself, because that's when it matters the most.
True. I think even when we started our first venture, right, it was a lot of chaos, a lot of unknowns, right? We were entering something that we didn't know. If you started structuring that from day one, right, then you would forever be structuring things and then never start anything. The point of having chaos is so that you jump into the problem, start solving it, and you see things as they come. What happens is, once people have a lot of structure, right, it becomes difficult for us to actually see things for as they are. We assume everything to be in an ideal world, right? For us, everything is like built on a paper sheet, and we have to follow step 1, step 2, step 3.
Correct.
Doesn't work in the startup world, and we learned it the hard way. Right? And that's exactly when I thought someone like Dhruv is absolutely required, because he can handle the chaos while you can build a structure for the long term.
Yeah.
Right. So I think someone who starts chaos is important, but you should have someone who's getting that structure while you're doing that. We know about a lot of startups which started really well, went crazy with the growth, but could not scale from there, right? That's a issue that they face. And I think so it's really important for 0 to 1, you have that chaos, and 1 to n, you have that structure. Right? So I think both are like yin and yang, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
That actually makes a lot of sense, because there is another analogy like this. People think smart work and hard work are two different things, which is okay, but people value smart work more, because they believe if I work smart from day one, I'm going to be ahead of everyone else. But that's not how it works, right? The first 6 months or 1 year or 2 years of your business, of your venture, should be pure hard work. That's what I believe. The first few months business it should be pure hard work. You should be putting more hours, endless sleepless nights and all that stuff. And once you've reached a certain level, that's when you shift to smart work. That's when you understand how you make it easy. I'll give an example for this. So I saw it on Reels the other day. I don't remember where. But let's say if I make 100 rupees an hour and someone comes and teaches me how to make 1,000 rupees an hour, that doesn't mean I just make 1,000 rupees a day. Correct. That means I make at least 12,000 rupees a day. So I work for at least 12 hours. So that's what people think, that working smart for n number of time, for a little time, is going to help them get ahead. but in reality, you have to work hard more as compared to the smart work level to get where you are. That's what I believe.
I would agree
agree.
to
I
that.
mean, we have seen real life examples, right?
Mhm.
Like I've seen, so a lot, like in India, this happens a lot, right? You compare colleges and then you're like, okay, this is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Yeah.
Tier 1 folks will be really great. I have seen tier 1 folks with really good talent, right? Who don't work hard and they just join an MNC, right? And I've seen like countless example of actually tier 3 people actually building something great because they have the grit, right? And you see it in real life. People with grit actually go much farther because we have a lot of talented people who don't work hard and everyone's doing something that anyone would do, right? What's the use of having all of that talent?
Correct.
And I think that is really true. Smart work is required, yeah, after you scale. But initially, hard work beats talent, bro. Like you see it everywhere. In
I would also say the same because I myself have been the example where I used to be like a person who will be a smart work person. I used to focus on getting shit done when it's required and getting it done as easy as possible. But I would say over time I've learned the importance of hard work, and I do believe that hard work is the way to go when you're like forming something. Smart work is just a cheat code sort of thing.
Understood. So when you all started your business together, your first business together, you all were students.
Yeah.
Right? You all started at a very young age. So how did a student entrepreneur identity felt back then? Like how did it felt to be a student entrepreneur to Wake? How was your day-to-day life different as compared to other students?
In that question, I would say, well, we didn't have time for our own selves. That was the main thing I would say. But it was also fun because having something outside college, something outside what regular folks are doing, gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of more creativity to yourself. Like you are more curious about things, you learn more. So, but yeah, there were countless days where we had less than 4 or 5 hours of sleep because we used to wake up in the morning, we had to leave in the morning for a lot of things, and like it was all different. Overall, it was very chaotic, but it was a very fun journey, I would say.
I think I would second that. At least in my college, right? In my first and second year, a lot of folks used to go. You just joined college, right? You want to enjoy.
Yeah.
I would see that and I would be really jealous. And there were countless times where I thought, okay, why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
Right? You don't see results in the beginning. When we just started our first venture,
Correct.
you're barely making some money, right? You would
Correct.
call it pocket money to begin with. But that sense of having your own money to spend, right? That joy was uncomparable. Yeah. So even though I regret not going out and having fun like most of the folks did, right? Or not going for events as such, it was worth it. When you go to sleep, you're happy and you have a sense of purpose and a sense of identity.
Correct.
I think that's something that helped me even stand out in college later. It paid off well later, right? For my networking or for when we wanted to raise funds and get grants also from the government, that actually played off. In the beginning, no, you don't realize how important it is to actually isolate from the crowd and act and work by yourself. 100% if you look at social media, you look at your friends also, you'll see them enjoying and you'll be like, I wish that I had that life.
Correct.
But long term, you'll play off way better than them.
I agree with
You will always envy that life because you really feel like you want to have fun, but then in reality, you realize that it's much better to start building something in the start, like as you begin in your career, because it gives you more room to make mistakes as well.
Okay. So let's go back to where you all started.
Yeah, sounds good.
I want to know about your first business, not together, separately, like your first business of your life.
The first thing I had ever done was in actually 6th standard. So I used to basically, it was more like I used to sell it. I used to take drawing books. I used to color the drawings and I used to frame it and I used to sell it in my own locality. It's up to people who knew me. So they were willing to buy also. So I made a small amount of profit, 200, 300 rupees. At that time, it was amazing because I had my own money to spend rather than asking my parents again and again. That was the first thing. But a proper business would be actually with him.
So for me, it was this thing called Indradhanush. I think Dhruv Chawla, I don't know whether he spoke about it. So during our 11th standard end, we realized that COVID was going on. Right. At Tech, we thought it was a good market to start with. So we have started this small concept called Indradhanush, where we would actually take kids from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and teach them everything other than the
Studies.
academics.
Okay.
So only focus on extracurriculars. You've got coding, you've got digital design, we did online courses also, Canva courses and everything. So that was new for us. So that's some place where I actually put my money down and my head down and started working on. We were break even, right? Because there was some last moment things, which again, I told you, right? Chaos. We didn't plan for it.
Yeah.
Through online, we were both structured guys. We thought of going in structure only. There was this another guy, Aditya. He handled it very well. And Indradhanush was the first place where we made money, and we also spent all of that money. So that was the first. And after that, it was the agency that Dhruv spoke about, like where we actually started making money, which was coming into our pockets. Right.
In 11th, I used to run a blog as well. So that would be like my first time I made like real money. I used to run a basic tech blog where I was very passionate. So I think it was 11th end when I started it, and I was very passionate about new tech which kept coming in. Plus, we were in COVID times, so I used to just sit and like stream MKBHD and all on like non-stop. So it was very fun for me. I used to write about new phones coming in, new apps which you can use, and all those things. And so I got lucky with it actually, because I had Amazon referral affiliate links on my blog, and someone from like one of my readers only ordered a item for the, I don't know, office related stuff, which gave me a very huge amount of profit. It gave me around 1.6 lakhs in a month as profit just from that affiliate. So that's where my like spark for business began. Like I was like, I have to do something in this.
And this was when you were in 11th?
Yeah, 12th standard.
12th standard.
Yeah, 12th, yes.
How did it feel to make 1.5 lakhs in one day, maybe?
It was very amazing. That's the first time I like went for a big purchase of my own, where my first purchase was my MacBook M1. I'm still using that because it's a device that's never left me till now. So I was very happy to have my own laptop, and that too owned by Apple, because I was a big fan of Apple. I never had that luxury in the childhood to buy an Apple product.
Correct.
So yeah, it was amazing.
I think like I never made this much amount of money ever in one go. And for me, it was in the Dhanush. After that, we started the agency, but in between, I was working with this startup called Karya. So they were trying to bring this work and study culture, the one that you have abroad, right? We don't have part-time jobs over here. And they were trying to introduce that. So there I was heading strategy and expanding into South India for them. So my first ever paycheck that came into my bank account was $5,000, right? Which was as an intern there. Right? Then it grew to around 30,000-40,000 by my second year, right? Then I had enough money to spend other than what my parents would give me. So I stopped taking an allowance whatsoever. So I think that was one place where we made money, and we used to talk on call. We used to always sulk about not going out and having money, right? Yeah. It felt good to have that money, but we never ended up spending it
at all. It was very we used to be very responsible with the money when in the start.
In the beginning,
in the beginning, very
beginning.
Yeah, we invested a lot of money in the start itself in the stock market and all. Yeah. So we had a good journey there also. Like we didn't have much knowledge, but like slowly learned about that. Started investing at an early age, which gave us a good edge.
But at a young age, when you see all your friends partying, enjoying, and when you made that money after not being able to join them, didn't you feel like now it's my time to go out and enjoy and party? Or did the craze die?
It starts dying after a point, actually, right? Yeah. The moment, so I think progress is more addictive than any other drug that you could find, right? Alcohol, anything else. When you see progress after putting in certain work, right? That dopamine cannot be replaced. That cannot be replaced. Agree. So initially, we felt like, oh shit, our friends are going out.
We were also crazy enough to do, like, we didn't do something like go to clubs and all. We used to take trips.
Yeah, we used to take
trips.
That's way better.
Yeah, that's way better.
We used to refresh ourselves by taking trips here, there, and we should live in a, I wouldn't say luxury, but at least like live a higher life at that point when we used to get the money in.
Right. So I think that place, I think that hunger starts dying off after the point. You feel, okay, we'll do it later, right? When you have an X amount. And I think it's important that you set a goal to enjoy also, because you got burnt out after 2 years of doing this. There was a very bad crash. But I think it's important. If you're not burning out, I don't think so you're working enough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Correct.
And one thing about burnouts is that after a point you start enjoying burnouts.
That is true. Yeah, it becomes addictive.
Because I have felt that way. If I'm not burnt out today, I won't sleep satisfied.
Correct.
Yeah, you do feel that way because you're like, I could work more. Why didn't I do it?
Yeah,
that's the main question that comes to your head always when you're going to sleep.
That's crazy. So what is that one skill that you all learned may be different, but
Hmm.
what is that one skill which helped you make your first buck online?
You wanna go?
I would say stakeholder communication. In basic word, public speaking and communication.
Okay.
That's it. That is
Okay, now you said
very
stakeholder-
fancy, very
yeah,
fancy.
just to put it in
very
a fancy
fancy
word.
words for
stakeholder communication.
yeah.
Nah. Okay, yeah. Public communication is a very good thing.
It's simple.
Very good skill to learn.
Yeah, it is.
But in fact, the first money I made online was because of that only. Because of a course I sold, which was about teaching people how to speak properly, how to speak confidently and all. Made around 50K in a week.
Oh
It's
damn.
amazing.
Yeah, because of that account, that 50K wala account.
Okay.
The Insta
So,
account, right.
Yeah, that skill I always, and plus it helps you, if not money, it will actually help you build that
Network as well.
network and reputation in front of other people.
Right.
Correct. True. I think similar to Dhruv, I think I would modify it a bit. I think selling is something that selling, and I think a lot of data-based decisions, right?
Yeah.
Those two things I think I learned while working with Dhruv. Because I think when you can sell, people say sales jobs are really bad and everything, but you don't see the amount of money they make will be much more.
Exactly.
That's purely driven by hard work, right?
work.
Because you're paid on commission.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the most important skills that I still carry. And I would say, if you had to ask me what you're good at, I would be sales.
Sales.
Yeah, that is one thing. And second is taking data-backed decisions. Right? Data drives everything. That is the whole truth. Obviously, there are things that can turn out different. But 99% of the times, if you're backed by data while doing something, there's very less chances you can go wrong. Right? So, I think you should take decisions really fast, but make sure they're backed by something. Right?
Okay.
Gut feeling is really important.
Correct.
Right? But to scale, I think data is important, and data speaks for itself.
Now, when you talked about sales, sales is one of the most important skill to learn in business.
Right.
No questions asked. Sales is something which will determine how much successful you get in this particular niche. So for our audience watching, can you mention any three, I won't say exercises, but any three details to keep in mind while making a sale?
While making a pitch.
I think first thing, don't try to sell whatever you're selling. Try to understand the customer, right? Try to understand that person's problems.
Yeah.
Right. And then tell them how you can solve that problem, right? How you can make their life easier. What I think where most people, and even I went wrong in the beginning, was I need to make this sale, I need to sell this product.
Yeah.
So you start shoving the product into their face.
Yeah.
That's something that you should not do.
Okay.
Try to understand that person, because you are trying to sell a feeling. Product can be anything. As the moment the person or the customer is feeling valued, he feels that this is something that's in his favor, he'll easily shell out money. That's the first. Don't shove the problem. Second would be to actually understand the customer. And third, have a good relationship after selling the product.
Okay.
Because what people confuse with, oh, I've made a sale, I'm done with this customer. That's not how you are a really good salesman. What you want to get is lifetime value out of the person, right? You want to make sure that that person becomes your advocate to sell this product forward as well. So make sure that at the end, you're making sure the person's happy. And even after that, you follow up with those folks, understand how your product is, and make sure that you take this feedback and work on it actually. That's when people will actually value you as a brand.
I think even lead generation part comes into play there, because as he said in the first point itself, don't push a sale or like sell to someone who doesn't need a solution for it. You have to know if a person requires it or not. Otherwise, it's no use.
Okay. So having a proper data of the person is very important who you are selling to. Now, most of the people in these days, when they start an agency or they start a business, they often go for online sales to book clients, right? So they go for cold calling and then they go for cold emailing. Now, as a business owner who has run an agency before, I have done both. I have done cold calling, I have done cold emailing, I have done cold messaging. The most number of clients I've gotten is from cold messaging. Second is cold emailing, cold calling, zero clients till now. I feel that's a thing in India, because in India, people think every sales call is a scam.
Correct.
Right. Now, if you were to, let's say if you were given 100 people with their phone numbers and their emails in a list, right? Would you spend your time cold calling them, or would you spend your time cold messaging them?
I would spend my time cold emailing them, because email is the best way to communicate something when you're trying to sell something. Even if like it's a direct no to the customer that it's gonna be a sales thing, but at least email makes it more professional overall.
Okay.
I think I would use this strategy, but modify it a bit. So I would build a funnel, right?
Okay.
I would message all those 100 people,
Okay.
but I would go a step ahead and probably offer them something in the beginning. Like what we used to follow is, let's say you have a business, your restaurant business,
Fine.
and I want to get you as a client.
Yeah.
We would take your existing website,
Okay.
work on it,
Okay.
do some changes, and say, hey, these are places where you can improve. Send them a link with the cold mail. Once we get good responses, you get a second filter people who might be interested in the business. Then I cold call these people saying, hey, let's get on a call, and then we can take it forward. I think human-to-human interaction is really important once you're comfortable with that person or they see value in whatever you're doing. So I think I would do it as a funnel, but yeah, obviously start with cold messaging because you want to optimize for time.
Once you already are showing what value you can provide, it makes the sales also very easy.
Yeah,
So once that conversion is done, you know that the client is willing to take a cold call also.
I think in India, what is jo dikhta hai, wohi bikta hai, right? So you don't need to send them something they can look and be willing into.
So let's say if we keep sales apart, which is that one other skill which will put you in an unfair advantage if you master it?
I would say AI utilization. I know it's very like cheap to sound and it's the most.
It's not cheap. It's just generic.
It has
People
become a
talk about
generic.
AI,
Yeah.
and then they only think about ChatGPT.
That is where the problem
Yeah.
comes in actually. But I would say AI, using your AI right, like using whatever tools you're using, just use them right. Try to automate as much as you can, but always know that everything cannot be automated. No matter what anyone says, no matter how many gurus you listen to, nothing can be automated. You have to be there at one point, and you have to learn how to do the things. But yeah, AI is a very important skill, I would say.
I think that and also having a team player mindset, right? Being solo, you can go only so far, dude. Like I know for sure there are solo entrepreneurs who have gone way ahead, but I think the moment you have like a team mentality and you can make sure that you can build a culture, and that's when you can actually build something that's solid and has a good foundation. Right? I think the ability to value people and make them feel valued in a team, that is really important in today's world, because what we see in India, at least, it's like kaam se matlab hai bas, right? That won't take you far, because people, the moment you pay that person more, he'll go.
Yeah,
right.
Correct.
You want to build a loyal startup, you want to build a loyal place.
You want to build a family in that team, basically.
Exactly. I think that's something that's really important. And while having worked in a lot of startups, there are places where I've seen people stick even when shit goes bad. Right? People will be there with you no matter what, no matter if they're not getting paid well as well. Right. And there are places where I've seen the moment you get like a 10% increase, the person going off. So I think that's really important, how you make people feel.
And how you treat people who work with you. Right. Yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Because most of the people, they all often ऐसा सोचते हैं कि he works under me.
Exactly.
And that's a very bad mindset to have. Even if you have a pretty decent, let's say, venture of yours, and you're at the top of it and you have employees working for you. But I have seen people who treat your employees like they're co-workers, or let's say co-founders at a point, who treat them like co-founders. That company tends to do way better than
they do well. They do much well than any other company, because you know that the person is not going to leave at the end.
Right. Yeah, they also feel valued, right? Because there's only so much money can do, right? If you start comparing everything with money, anyone can take the person easily and go away. The moment he feels connected to the problem, right? That's when you have someone who's a team player who's going to stick with you, right? Who's going to take those risks for you. There was this case study actually on a company. The CEO, because of the 2008 recession, he let down his salary from 1 million to 70,000 and made sure everyone is paid the same.
I guess I had read about it.
It was a fintech company based out of US.
Okay.
And it was really surprising to see that when everyone was paid well, they could take care of their personal life, right? Everyone felt valued at the same place. And then people actually pulled in more time in the time of COVID and all of that. And the company did really well that time. I think they went 3x in their revenue, right? And then the employees actually got together, put in money and bought a Tesla for the CEO. So it was really nice to see that. I don't see why businesses are not applying this. Maybe it doesn't work everywhere, but ideally there are cases.
Work culture is definitely wow.
And I think that's something India is lacking a lot.
I mean, it also depends people to people, right?
Correct.
You know, when you said case study, I actually remembered another case study.
Okay.
So there was this one founder who was talking about his restaurant. So he owned a restaurant wherein he had a lot of workers. It was some 5-star restaurant, I'm not sure. But he had a lot of workers. Now what he would do is, he would let the workers steal
Okay.
from the money. He would let them steal from the money. Little bit that will keep them happy, but not that much which will put loss to his business.
Okay.
So maybe a few $1,000s, which will not affect his business, but also keep the customers happy. And then the employee loyalty rate of that hotel was the highest in that area.
Damn.
Wow.
Because he claims it, because that is the reason that I let my employees steal.
I mean,
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes
It
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah,
I was not
you
disagreeing.
need to get you need to get people hooked. Man, now
Yeah.
loyalty.
Loyalty is the most important skill for anything.
Okay, let's talk about Hacker House now. So I did receive a brief about Hacker House, what it is. I have an idea, but I want you to explain from scratch what it is about and how do you plan on starting it.
Hacker House came to me because of this guy Isaac. He was our third co-founder in Flexibus that time. Total geek guy, amazing guy. Uses mathematics in design, right? In UI UX.
He was crazy.
Yeah, he is crazy.
Yeah.
Even the small button that you would see, right? Bro would design it in golden ratio.
Yeah.
And this is true, right? Maths is the universal language. So he said, if I design it mathematically right, there's no way it can be beautiful.
Correct.
Right. So this guy, different guy only.
He used to pump out designs like anything.
Yeah. When I actually sat with him recently, I think a couple of months back, he was saying, dude, I don't find people like me who I can talk to, right? Or who I can vibe with. We realized, okay, why not have like a safe place for all these devs, all these people who are crazy in building shit, like obsessed, to come together and actually meet, right? Meet, enjoy, and actually build something overnight. And that's how we got the idea of Hacker House. And we did 2 cohorts right now.
Okay.
In Kandolim. So we got a villa.
Yeah.
We rolled out the form. We got like 30 responses on each cohort. And we're limiting it to 30 only. We want to get quality people in, right?
Correct.
So had that amazing night, people networked, and a lot of business opportunities got created there as well.
Okay.
And there were people who are working in the crypto space who got connected to people who are working in normal, not the Web3, but Web2, right? They could synergize. They got business out of that. So ideally, we want to build it like a place where you can come and actually stay and build.
Okay.
Right? We just want people who are hungry to build, and we support them by getting them grants or getting VCs. So we're planning to have a VC night also now.
Okay.
Where you get the VC and you pitch in the pool.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, pitch in the pool. Okay.
Yeah, pitch in the pool. So everyone gets in the pool, you have a good swim, and then you start pitching. Right? That is a concept we want to bring into, because, I have attended a lot of conferences that happen in Goa. Even you might have gone for all this developer conferences.
Yeah.
BNI.
Too formal.
Too formal, too boring. And
and people are not willing to talk. You're not making that culture there to talk. That's
Exactly.
one thing.
It's too formal. You can't speak your heart out. And if I'm an investor, right, I want to invest in you rather than the business. So might as well know you as a person before I put my money down, right? The business might keep changing. So I think that's the whole idea of Hacker House, and we plan to expand it, hoping to see more people come on.
So what all activities are done? Like let's say this is an Hacker House. Okay. This is a Hacker House over here, and we are starting the live event, the live cohort. How will the day look?
So ideally, we get everyone in the Hacker House, start with some welcome drinks, right? First, we don't talk about work. The first rule is to get to know each other.
Okay.
So you'll get a card with a set of questions.
Okay.
And you answer those questions to everyone. Right? It'll be about who you are, or what's the most craziest thing you have done, right? Or what's the most stupidest thing you have done. So we start getting to know each other as people, than business owners or someone who are trying to build something. After that, we have a Uno or a game night, right? So Hacker House starts at 7.
In the morning?
No, in the night.
Okay, in the night.
7 p.m.
Okay, when does it? Okay, it starts at 7.
We code the whole night. So 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So we have the card game, right? And we finish dinner by 12. That's
Okay.
all the fun part. 12 is when the building starts. You build from 12 to 4 in the morning, right? You can choose any problem statement. Say that, hey, I'm going to solve this in so and so amount of time. And you start building. From 1 to 4 you build, right? You get to take 1 hour nap before you get into the pool. And that's when the VCs come. So early morning you get
Okay, so you bring in VCs as well.
we bring in VCs as well. In the evening, in the morning, early mornings is when the VCs come. So we plan
Okay,
to.
for the people who don't know, can you explain what a VC is?
So
Oh, yeah.
a VC is a venture capitalist. So we are trying to get small angel investors right now in Goa who can put in anywhere from 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs
Okay.
as a seed fund for you.
Okay.
Right. So 6 a.m. you get into the pool.
Yeah.
Right. This is so that we can actually push it to the limit. You know, this gives you that fun element where you have worked the whole time and now you get to pitch. So we
You can relax yourself.
Yeah, you
chill.
relax yourself.
Talk to the VCs before you go in, definitely. Like,
Okay.
for that.
So in the pool, we play a couple of games, and that's when the pitching starts. And the pitching goes on till the morning. You get your breakfast, right? And then you chill out. We let people network after that.
Yeah.
But the night is when we keep it intensive. And if you have noticed, most of the hacker coders also work.
Yeah,
at
That was
night,
my
right?
next question actually.
Yeah.
Why at night? Because night is shant and you like vibe
Thoda
coding at the
peaceful.
night.
Yeah, it's peaceful,
peaceful.
right? We want people to be in their zone. In the morning, there's so many things that could happen. And you might get a call from your.
you keep
So we get people from all
Hmm.
backgrounds, right? People who
Okay.
are working already, people who are students.
Okay.
You might get a call from your
Office
colleague,
or
your
something.
classmate, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right? At night, everyone's sleeping. That's
Everyone
when
is
the
sleeping.
real you comes out, right?
Correct.
And I think that's what we're doing after us.
Yeah, after I mean,
After
that's
hours
the
at the
main
night.
point of it.
Yeah.
right?
So I think we're following the same philosophy over there as well.
Okay, that's something actually very new. I don't know if I've ever heard about it. This was the first time I heard about it. But you mentioned like this has been done before.
Yeah, we have done two
Cohorts.
cohorts. Right?
No,
now.
but like
Oh.
something like Hacker House.
Yeah,
is
Hacker
done.
House. So we got inspired to build something like this by a local host.
Local host. Okay.
Yeah, local
Yeah.
host is the name of the company.
It's a similar thing like Hacker House in Bombay.
In India?
In Bangalore.
Okay,
sorry.
Bangalore.
Bangalore itself.
Okay.
Yeah, they recently raised I think $4 or $5 million in funding. So they're
Okay.
expanding into other countries.
Yeah.
Their model is something that we really want to follow as well, with a little twist to it.
Before it, we should be just like friends getting together and like chilling and doing it and
Yeah.
hackathon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we just want to give it like, a fun twist and like
Got it.
more bigger network in general.
Yeah.
That's good. But why do you decide to keep it only 30? Like, why do you decide to keep it 30? Why not 15? Or
So-
like a little more less?
So we decided to keep it 30 because before this, right, when we did Indradhanush and all,
Yeah.
we had two types of people, two types of cohorts. We had like 100, 150 kids where we could not give attention to everyone properly.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a set of really less people.
Hmm.
The moment it's too small, we see that the interaction also dies down,
Hmm.
right? Because we are trying to get people from various backgrounds. If I get only 15 people, right, and 10 of them end up being students and 5 are corporate folks, I can't ensure a
There's
good mix out
no
of this.
networking happening much out of it.
Right.
Actually.
So I think 30 becomes an optimal number where people can get to know enough people, where it's not too much or too less. But the
Okay.
numbers worked out. We might change it in the future. Let's see how that goes up.
And when does this happen? Like,
So right now it's once a month.
Once
Right,
a
we
month.
roll out form in the beginning of the month, and at the end of the month, we filter out people. So last time we got 200 responses,
Around, yeah.
okay.
right? And we filtered it out to 30. Before that it was 70 when we started. So trying to do that only. We want to keep the crowd accustomed to the theme also, right? So if there's an edtech theme, we want to get people who are building in edtech or something
EdTech,
like that.
okay.
Right, or fintech. So last time we had, first was a generalist event. Next we had an agency folks only, right? People who are working in agencies or are building agencies came
Okay.
together. That's how we are planning to
That's
do
a good thing, I feel, because even in businesses, there are so many different sectors.
it. Exactly.
If you get an agency guy and a manufacturing guy together, I don't think so they will be able to bond that much.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I guess that's when the sorting out really
Yeah.
It helps a lot, yeah.
And sorting it out is random or
No. So we have a very extensive form. You submit what you have worked on. You submit your profile.
okay.
Right. And so we focus more on the essay. So we have one question. I took this from Elon actually. He says, what is the one most difficult thing that you have done in your life? It could be anything. It could be something as simple as I was 110 kgs, now I'm at 70 and I'm at my peak physique. Right. So we want to know what is one of the most difficult thing you have done. And on the basis of that, obviously after filtering out for sectors, that's one thing that we look at to select people. We want people with real grit. Right?
Okay.
So trying to filter out the best is exactly what we're trying to do.
Damn, that's a really good idea. I wish you all the best for
Thanks.
it. Now let's get to Flexibus.
Right.
This is something I want to talk about.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Anish over here. First of all, if you're listening to this right now, I would love to say thank you. I hope you're enjoying the episodes we release, and if there's any scope for improvement, please let me know in the comment section below. This episode was the part 1 of a 3-part series. In the next part, we have discussed about how was it working with the government, what controversies did they face while working with the government, and how the government almost stole their idea. Damn, You do not want to miss the next episode. Trust me. So do like the video, subscribe to After Hours with Anish Naik, and turn on the bell notification so that when the next episode is live, you're the first one to get notified. Thank you. See you in the next one.